Well, thank you so much for agreeing to speak to me today. I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited to get to know more about it. My first question for you is, what is Sustainapod?
Right. Thanks for having us, by the way. Sustainapod started 3 years ago in 2020. Well, so that's almost 4 years ago, actually. Um, but we were part of this other organization, um, and we were just a bunch of people that were part of this group. And then we were making this podcast thing. Sustainapod, the name, I came up with it, and then slowly the organization started to do like barely anything. We were posting on their Instagram, and it wasn't really valuable for us to be on their site, so we decided to get away from that and start our own branch, and that's the Hong Kong branch. And then after that, I went to two different schools, so Concord College in Shropshire, and then now in Imperial. So that's how all three of those brands came to be. My co-founder Belinda was an Imperial graduate.
Right, and so what um, what made you decide that you wanted to do your own thing? Was it you weren't getting enough material? Did you want to try something new that you weren't being allowed to do?
As in, like doing my own thing, as in the podcast, or
Yeah,
doing my own thing. Well, yeah, like I think I have a passion for podcasting. And when the opportunity arose, I was like, oh, yeah, definitely something I wanted to try. I think people don't understand how important podcasting is because they just see it as like an audio form of YouTube. Then why don't I just watch the video? But then
right.
podcasting is its own thing. You can listen to it when you commute, when you work. So when I cook or do my washing, like I listen to podcasts as well. So it's really a give and take. And I really like talking about things, and sustainability is one of the things that I care most about. So building this community really meant something for me.
So you said it's a community. Have you got a group of volunteers working on this?
Yeah, so basically, we started off as 7 people. Of those founding members, only 3 remain. Since then, we've had a lot of people come in and out. So in 2021, we were at about 14 people. But then it was a really small group. And honestly, we thought this was just a summer fling. Like, no one actually thought this would manage to go for 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, but then when I went to Concord College in Shropshire, I then tried to recruit bunch of people there, and we got about 12 people there. So then that number immediately went from 14 to 20 something.
Yeah.
And then after that, I've relegated some responsibilities to some of the people there that I still talk to.
Right.
And now we have a branch that's independent over there. We have a branch here at Imperial. And so now we're at 30 something people in members.
Right. So are there opportunities for Imperial students to get involved in the Imperial specific branch of this?
100%. I mean, right now we haven't found our footing yet, so I still want to keep it as a small group. So right now we have 4 members, including myself, part of this Imperial branch. There are people from London that are helping out. So even though the 4 of us are from Imperial, there are other London members that are helping out with this branch as well. Um, but definitely, we're trying to put this into the union next year. Hopefully, put it into the union if we all have the capacity, and then we'll see how things go from there. But if you want to support us and work with us, just let us know. Like, we're always down for partnerships.
Right. And what has been your biggest achievement in the short time you've had in the last 4 years?
Man, I think two of the things that were my biggest achievements personally was um, we did an episode with the vice president of the iStructE, so the Institute of Structural Engineering. And as a civil engineer,
Yeah.
that is like pretty top for me.
Yeah.
So we did an episode with her. I mean, I did an episode with someone who was working with DALI, like OpenAI,
Right.
and that was a really cool experience as well. I think a full circle moment for me. Um, 2 years ago, I did an interview with the Tire Collective, which was a startup that started from the Imperial Entrepreneurship Lab,
Right.
and I was talking to them. So I went up to them and I cold DM them like, "Yo, can I talk to you guys?"
Mm-hmm.
And now being in Imperial and being
Yeah.
part of a competition which is run by the Climate Entrepreneurship Club, it's kind of a full circle moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, yeah, those
It's
three
almost
words.
like you were made for Imperial.
I wouldn't say that. Like I'm a hardworking person, but there are definitely a lot of people smarter than me. But you just gotta keep working hard and, um, explore your ambitions. I guess.
Right, so you mentioned the Climate Entrepreneurs Club competition, which is now in
Right.
its second year. Do you want to talk more about what that is, what you've gained from it?
Right. So, the Climate Entrepreneurship Club's pre-accelerator is currently running, and we are one of a few teams that are builders. So they're split into builders and ideators. Obviously, we have Sustainapod, so we're trying to expand it, and that's why we're part of the builders group. But then an ideator would be someone who doesn't have an idea and, is trying to get their footing and then find an idea, find a group, and then try to pitch that to a bunch of mentors and then hopefully win some cash prize or whatever. Um, how I feel about the competition, I'm very optimistic. I mean, the way you found me was because I was publishing like, um, our steps in the
Yeah.
competition, and we're trying to be as transparent as possible. And I'm at the forefront of, as long as I can keep showing people where our steps are, what are we doing, then there will be people that like you who want to help us. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. Continue to show what we're doing, to tell people what we're doing, and then see what comes of it. So if that doesn't mean a cash prize, I know there'll be a lot of people that are willing to help us, like yourself, try to promote whatever Sustainapod is going to do.
Yeah, that's so true. Even being a part of the competition and the kind of people you meet, it's an awesome network to tap into, especially since the Imperial branch is only how old?
So I mean, I'm a year first year, so it's 1 years.
Right, so
Three,
you've
three,
only
four
been here
months.
like 3 months.
Yeah. So
Wow,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Everyone
that's
in our
ins-
Imperial branch is a first year. So
that's great actually. Getting first years involved in the college so early on,
mhm,
it's really inspiring to see. Um,
yeah.
yep.
I would say though, like, yes, I'm a first year, and I've heard from a lot of people, like, wow, you're doing so much as a first year. Like, I can't imagine, like, if when I was first year, I wasn't even thinking about these things. But hey, like, I don't know everything, right? Like, I'm a first
Mhm.
year. I don't have the knowledge of year fours, I mean, PhDs, and
Yeah.
of the sort. So I'm coming into any competition or any situation with a humble, um,
Hmm.
perspective. Like, I don't know as much as you do. I'm
Right,
not as
and
good as you do, but I'm here to learn. And that's what we're doing in this competition. Just trying to learn from everyone.
that's the best thing you can do at this stage is just take in the amazing resources we've got here. And so, how did you
Absolutely.
meet the other three first years that you're working with now?
Yeah, so I met one, on a Horizons course. So Kai, I met Kai on a Horizons course, and she was really like talkative. And when we were just introducing ourselves, I brought up my podcast, and she was
Yeah.
really interested. So that's
Hmm.
why I recruited her on, and she's been an integral part of us. Um, Selena's from Hong Kong. So my co-founder Belinda, she was at the same school as Selena, and
Right.
Selena found us on LinkedIn. So she applied to us by filling in a form, like the actual way. Yeah, so she actually applied to us the actual way.
Hmm.
And the other one, EB, she's my best friend. So, um, yeah, that's just how we all met. So, but it's been strong, and I think the good thing about having everyone as a first year is, um, we're all new, so we're all just exploring new things. So, yeah, that's about it.
And also, how are you finding the balance between running this and doing a pretty intensive degree like Civeng?
Let me tell you, I'm not. Like, civil engineering has been a very, very stressful course. Um, Look, as I've said before, I'm only a first year. So I'm not saying that I have more work than a year two, a year three, or year four, but it's still a lot of work.
It's still a lot of work.
So I kind of put it in the sense of, I care about this project, but There got to be some balance. So this is my free time.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of sacrificing going on, but um, you might say like, wow, like you're not going out as much, or like you're not doing as much like fun stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this to yourself? I think the word sacrifice cannot be used in that sense, because if you like what you're doing, then it's not called sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I like what I'm doing, and I like what I'm doing for um, everyone that is a member of Sustainapod, because except for us and some other members, everyone else is like 17 or below. So we have like
Yeah.
14 to 17.
That's
And I'm
incredible.
paving a road for them to come up. Yeah.
That's so rewarding, isn't it? Seeing the next generation of sustainability champions who haven't even gotten to university yet but still want to make a difference. Like
Oh,
those will be the
100%.
eventual those will be the eventual
Yeah.
leaders and so on. So,
I think watching them grow, um, I want to shout out Chinny Kwok. Um, hope she hears this as well. Like uh, she's been an integral part of us as well on the global branch. When she first joined us, she had no idea about sustainability, but then um, she had her own mini series. And this wasn't even for the CV. Like she did this when I was like year 11, and she had her own mini series, and she was like, "Oh, like this is what sustainability means." And then she started to like work more with us, build up a leadership role, and then now she's promoting Sustainapod at webinars with other organizations, and she's leading our Hong Kong branch, and she's doing such a great job. But that's the opportunity that we want to bring for everyone. So, I mean, one thing I'll say is whatever you put in, you get out, and we will help
yeah.
you as much as you want to help yourself in that sense.
And so, what are the kind of activities people can do to help? Is it things like editing the podcast? Would it be thinking of
Yeah.
topics?
I think we've been through so many iterations of what the team structure is. Um, Honestly, as a group of people that are students and university students and secondary students, it's very hard to say you do this, you do that. And we've had times where all of that was about to blow over. So right now we're in the midst of a stage of trying to get people to work on their own projects.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell me what subjects you like or what topics you like. We'll help you find the guest. You write your own script. You do the interview. You do the editing. You do everything, and then we help you publish that. But we will guide you along the process. So we're not only guiding them through what sustainability means, but also giving them media experience so that they can be independent and do stuff like that as well. So that's our current structure.
Yeah, so the idea is you're a facilitator of other people to do their own sustainability content.
100%. And um, I think people don't know much about what kind of jobs there are in the world. And that's kind of one of the places where Sustainapod stems from. We're trying to enable young kids to learn more from industrial professionals and to get that experience early rather than later. Yeah. And I'll say something about that because I have a lot of friends that realize, oh crap, this isn't making me money. Let me switch to something that makes me money,
Yeah.
right? And maybe this hasn't hit me yet, right? So I'm not here to say that who's wrong, who's right. But from my first year perspective, I just feel like you should expose yourself to as many opportunities as you can early on, because then you'll know what you want to do. If you're just following your course in Imperial, you'll get the knowledge, you'll get the industry experience possibly, but who knows what you want to do in the future. It's never too late to change, but it's also never too early to change. So just follow the flow and try to find your own fitting.
Yeah, and also not getting too caught up if things don't go your way and you don't get the dream internship. That's also really important. Fields which are quite competitive. Fortunately, sustainability, there's so many options available. There's new positions and new entire fields coming up all the time.
I
So
would
I
say
think it's
something though. I
yeah.
think Um, it's it it sounds easy, but at the same time, I one of the members of our current group, she said her sister couldn't find a job because there's such high demand for sustainability because so many people
Mm,
know about it, but then there isn't the supply of jobs to accommodate for that. So another thing that businesses need to start doing is opening up more roles for people to actually join sustainable impacts, or more companies just need to be more sustainable in general. So I think it goes both ways.
right. And do you know what you want to do after you graduate yet? Or are you just
Absolutely.
waiting to see what happens? Yeah.
So I've had so many ideas of what I could do in the future, and I've been to the careers service. I I've done all those things. I've thought about it. Um, what is my career gonna look like? Because this is an NGO. It's not gonna make me a living, but could it break
Mhm.
even? Could I
Yeah.
could I still live off this and work for this as a that would be my dream. Just to work and live off this. We'll have to see. So probably a civil engineer would be my career, but in the end, in an unrealistic world, I would love to podcast for the rest of my life, but we'll
And
see.
how do you plan on monetizing the podcast?
So here's the thing. We have not. We
Yeah.
have been investing
Mm.
quite a lot of money into the podcast. And it's my money and my co founder Belinda's money, and mostly hers because she's working. So um, we've been investing in helping these young kids grow a lot of time, a lot of money, but um, it will be worth it. I think monetizing it would be something that we're trying to get sponsors. So if anyone reading this article or listening to this recording wants to sponsor us, please contact us.
Please do.
We're trying we've been trying to find a sponsor for ages. So but yeah, we're also looking at this competition as a way to branch forward. So that's one of our other ideas.
Should you win the competition, what would be the first thing you invest in?
Should we win the competition? I'll answer that first. It depends. Like, we obviously understand that we're an NGO, we're a non-profit, and for someone to invest in something that's non-profit compared to something that's probably a lot more profitable, like an AI or something that is uh, gonna work something for the industry, yeah, go invest in that if that's better. We're just gonna put our best foot forward and see what happens. So there's no should or should not if we win. But if we do win, that money is going straight into our funds. We are gonna try to keep uh, building up this network, invest in more equipment, I guess, and funding our in-person events. Because right now we've only had one, but we're hoping to do a lot more. And money would do good things because there's a lot of editing software, the recording software that we're on right now. It costs money,
Mm-hmm.
so just funding that and then just see where we go from there, I guess.
So you mentioned in-person events. What event did you run and how did it go?
Yeah, so we did an in-person event with Hong Kong's RTHK, which is our local radio platform, and one of their hosts um, came to our event to do a talk, and we did that at Hong Kong University. So we found a room, and there was a few of us, and we showed up, and we were talking about the storytelling in sustainability. Like, how can we make meaningful conversations? Because let's be honest, I can talk to you and we all care, we can care about sustainability, but there's a vast majority of people that don't care. And we think we know everything, but one, maybe we don't, but maybe they do know the same things and they don't care,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how can we make meaningful conversations from these facts that we know? And that's very important as well. Like, how can we bring meaningful conversations to our everyday lives so that more people can care about sustainability?
And is that one thing you hope this podcast does, is break down the main stigmas surrounding sustainability and try and dispel the myths around it?
Yeah, I think sustainability has a lot of forms. like there's always that negative sense, wow, like climate, and it's gonna go bad, it's gonna be a disaster, but I think Sustainapod is the opposite of that. We're more trying to be hopeful and trying to provide actual solutions. Like we're not here to be like, wow, it's gonna 1 degree increase, or like ice cap melting, or like deforestation or whatever. Like we will cover those topics, but the more important thing is, hey, this is how you can help. This is how you can make a difference, or this is an industry that you might be interested in. How can we help you get into that industry? Or like how can we help you figure out what you want to do? Those are the main things of Sustainapod. We're not trying to be pessimistic. We're not trying to be negative. How can we help you? That's the main thing.
And that's such an important message for the school children to hear, who are going to inherit this world that's been painted as this doom and gloom. But it's quite scary for them to think, when I'm an adult, will the things I enjoy still be there? And it's nice to have someone being optimistic and telling them it's going to be okay, we're going to solve this together.
Yeah, I think it's very obvious. Like the science tells us that it's not going well, and I think a lot of us know it's not going well. But shoving it in the face, like, oh, it's not going well, is not going to help anyone.
Yeah.
It just isn't. So why don't we just put our good spin on, like, look, it's bad. This is what we can do, and go from there.
Yeah, well, once again, it's so inspiring what you do. And I hope this podcast goes well. I hope your challenge goes well, even if you don't win. I think it will give you the exposure you deserve. Is there anything you want to say about or for Felix before we wrap up?
I think this is a really good opportunity. Thank you to Felix for having us on. I want to say that this is not just me. I, me and my co-founder Belinda, we are at the forefront. We're kind of the faces, but then there's a bunch of kids and, well, I should say youth members. There's a bunch of youth members that work tirelessly with us, and they should be congratulated for that as well. So, as much as, yes, I do a lot of the work as well for Sustainapod. This is a whole team effort. This is all of us. And one last thing, for this competition, we are trying to figure out features, because we're trying to build a website, www.sustainapod.co.uk. We're trying to build that website. But we want it to be accessible to secondary and university students. So if anyone has any ideas for what features we can put on it, or what's something you would like to see on something, a daily app that you could use every single day, contact us. That'd be great. So thank you, everyone.
Excellent. So is this, what is the purpose of this app? Is it like an educational app?
Yeah. So this app is, well, let's not call it an app first, because let's just call it a website first, because we haven't got to the app part. But the website is trying to, let's say it's the Khan Academy of sustainability.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the Seneca of sustainability, or the Duolingo of sustainability. Like a learning site, a platform where you can watch all of our episodes, categorized by sector, where you can learn in short bursts, 15-second videos. That's something we're trying to implement. But yeah, if there are any more ideas of like activities, quizzes, or like interviews, like all of that, like just send it our way and we'll read them all.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much again for agreeing to talk to us. And yeah, best of luck.
Thank you so much.